Happy Friday! Wow, it's always when I turn the camera on that I'm like, what a disaster. Good morning, happy Friday. I'm Jeff Blankenburg, and as always, I'm here to write a bunch of code and figure some things out that I don't already know. It's my favorite kind of software development, and we're going to be building a chatbot today. And rblank28, thank you for joining us. Yeah, you'll probably learn something. We're going to talk about. How to get where you just chatted, and as an example, rblank28, if you want to try this, if you type the word !lamp and then type a color, so like I'll type red, and if I put that in the chat and I hit enter, you can see the light behind me changes red. So for one, if you'd like to try that, give it a run. Kevin Evans, thank you for being here. But my plan today, we started on Wednesday building a chatbot. And the idea is to do things like that lamp right there. And so if you type in a color, obviously it will change the color of the lamp. But the thing that I really want to build is something that will help people solve development problems with Alexa. And so one of the things that I've been talking about for a little while is the idea that we build a chatbot that when people say things like, Alexa, tell me more about this, or how do I do this thing, or whatever, by providing that kind of mechanism, people can come to the chat. rblank, you have to offer a space between lamp and blue. We are not parsing that out, but if you leave a space between those two terms, it should work. Anyway, Jeff Nunn is here. Karthik is here. BCXML is here. I have a secret for all of you. I'm waiting for our guest rblank28 to try to change that light again. But a little secret for all of you that you may not know, rblank28 is actually my mom. Maple Yellow, are you kidding me, Karthik? You can do hex values and pretty simple color names, but you can't do Maple Yellow. So yeah, rblank28 is actually my mother, and she is tuning in today. She joined me for the interview that I did yesterday. If you guys didn't tune in for that, there you go, rblank, you got it. But that is, she joined me for my interview yesterday, and now she's tuning in to see if she might learn something today. So we're, as I said, we're going to build a Twitch chatbot, and we started this on Wednesday. I've been exploring some things in Lex, and that's pretty funny, Jeff Nunn, and a number of other places, and one of the questions that I got on Wednesday was, hey, is this going to be in a GitHub repo? Will we be able to get this code? And I didn't have a good way to do that, primarily because the Lambda function was written on the Lambda website, and then the Lex stuff isn't really downloadable. And then I had the bot, the actual chatbot, that's written in Node, and so that code seemed like it was pretty easy to share. But yeah, I didn't have a good way to do that the way that I had originally structured it. So the plan today is to basically start from scratch, and I've built out a little bit of the framework for it, but what we're going to do is work through those pieces, and then I also solved the one issue that we were having on Wednesday. If you guys were here on Wednesday, you may recall, hey Gold Zulu, good morning. You may recall that we had some challenges when I tried to add BB-8 to my chat. So one of the things I was using was my Star Wars database as the data behind the chatbot, and so you could ask it about Luke or Darth Vader or whatever. And when I added BB-8, it wasn't working. Well, I have since figured out why it wasn't working, and there's a whole bunch of weird versioning in Amazon Lex that I was not aware of. And as I was clicking through and trying to figure out why it wasn't working, I solved it. I make it sound like I solved it. I didn't solve anything. The button was there. I just didn't see it. So that's kind of what I want to do this morning. So we'll hydrate a little bit. It's hydrate or dihydrate, right? Can't drink enough water. It's a miserable day here too. The temperature is dropping rapidly. It should be on a normal early May day. It should be, I don't know, mid 60s. Maybe low 70s. It should start to get nice, and it's in the high 40s right now, and raining, and it's dropping. Tomorrow we're going to be in the mid 20s. I had to go back out and turn all my outdoor faucets off because I don't want them to freeze overnight. This is for you, Karthik. Thank you for the hydration reminder. Yeah, and T Benson 80. It sounds like it's getting cold there too. Yeah, Detroit is a couple hours north of me, and it's going to get really cold there. So, all right, so let's get into this. I want to do some stuff. So let's flip over to my everything view. Let's get the right thing on the screen first. And helps if you actually plug your laptop in, Jeff. So I have a laptop sitting here in front of me and a streaming PC that does all the hard work of the streaming and capturing video and all that. And so there we go. I just had to plug my laptop in and get it running. Oh, Trade Last Year in California. I don't think I realized that. That's pretty cool. So apparently everything just got booted off of full screen, so we'll kick that back. And I want to show you guys what I've started building. There we go. All right, so if we come into my directory, I've created, this is a brand new directory that I've never used before. TradeLast is in the Bay Area. And Kevin Evans asked if there's, after watching my interview yesterday with Manoj Sinwani, which if you guys didn't tune in, I was the interviewer and I learned a ton. I had a 1 hour conversation with the vice president of Alexa Speech AI. And he was, man, what an interesting guy. He had a lot to share and has had a really interesting career. And so if you guys didn't get a chance to tune in and see that, the video is available. Here, let me drop it in the chat. If I go to twitch.tv/Amazon Alexa and go to videos, it should be here from yesterday. Yeah, here it is. So let me grab this link. I don't need to play the video. And I'll drop it into the chat for you. So if you get an opportunity today, it was a really interesting conversation that I had with Manoj. And I think that he has some really interesting perspectives. He said, like I said, he's had a rich history of amazing jobs. He's worked in a lot of cool stuff and a lot of cool products. He's got a bunch of patents. Guy's crazy smart, and I learned a lot from him yesterday, and I'm going to be doing more of those. My plan is to have an interview with someone from the Alexa Science Organization about once a month, and it was pretty cool. But then I'm also going to be pulling people from the product team. I was also thinking it might be interesting. I don't know if I'll do it once a month or how I'll do it, but it would be interesting to have one of you on as a guest. And I don't know exactly how that would work. I know Jeff Nunn has been a guest. Karthik is someone else that I want to have some conversations with. But those are Amazon employees. But I thought it might be interesting to come up with a contest or something where you guys could be the guest on there instead, and we just talk about what you've learned and what you like, and maybe we could talk about what, like, from an outsider's perspective, someone that doesn't work at Amazon and it's building stuff for Alexa. What are the things that are great? What are the things that are bad? What are the things that, we could do something like that. So that's an interesting idea too. But to directly answer your question, Kevin, no, I'm not aware of any kind of memoir books about like how we got started or, what the beginning days were like. But Karthik nailed it. It was bad. It was hard and it was challenging. And especially if you got here before the SDK, it was so manual. You had to do so much work to get things done. So anyway, that's the answer to those questions. But I want to get into actually writing this chatbot stuff. So I don't know that any of this works yet. And there's a few things that I actually need to learn in order to do some of this. So I'm going to clear out my command line here. And my goal is to have a Lambda function that has all of the, I guess I can show this in the browser. Karthik, yeah, that sounds about right. T. Benson says, what type of tools do you recommend for someone running Windows 10? I'm jumping in and trying to learn more about natural language processing and natural language generation. Is that NLG? I don't actually know that acronym, but I think that maybe is what you're talking about. I suppose it depends on what you're trying to do. Like if you're talking about building Alexa skills and building and writing code, man, I found Visual Studio Code to be so versatile. It does so many things and there's so many plugins and it's so well supported. So I really like Visual Studio Code for doing a lot of that stuff. However, if you're trying to actually build like an NLP engine, I've never done that. I don't know. I don't know exactly if there are the right tools to do that thing, but VS Code is a pretty fantastic tool for building most things. And then from there, you could build something in Python or Node or C Sharp or whatever language you're comfortable with. But that's kind of where I would recommend starting is VS Code. There's just lots and lots of things you can do there. All right, so what I wanted to show here is that I have Lex, and we're going to need to use this to be able to identify what the user said and how it matches with what we're trying to accomplish. So Lex is going to be a big part of this. We're also going to have this Lambda function, and this Lambda function is plugged in to Lex. So what we'll do is there's three components to all of this. The first, if I have my old one, we're going to rebuild this. But this is my existing chatbot. It's running right now. That's how you change the lamp colors and stuff. This bot is just a JavaScript file that I run with Node, right? And if I come way over here, you can see that I'm actually running this, and it's as you guys type messages, it's logging all of this stuff here to this console. And so I know who your username is. I know what channel it was on. I know all sorts of stuff based on these pieces of information. And that's just running. And so one of the cool things about this is that if I go to my data table for my skill, which I'm also going to need to build a new one of these, I have this chat table that I've created. And you can see that if I scroll down here, all of the messages that we're typing, all of those things are being stored here in a database also. Now, I'll be deleting and purging these, but this is a good way for me to see how I can process messages that are coming in via Twitch chat and store them here. So this is just an experiment that I'm working with. I don't expect to continue to store these all the time, but this is the kind of data source that I'm going to use behind the scenes. So like I said, there's three pieces. If I can go back to my code, there's this thing that runs in Node, this bot. There is the Lex functionality, and this is when someone says, Alexa, tell me about account linking, or Alexa, tell me about Karthik. I'm able to pass that message off to the chatbot, to Lex, and have it tell me what the user said. What did it match in the things that I might have expected them to say? And then I use the Lambda function with Lex to be able to craft a response, call out to my database, get the appropriate data, and pass that back to my chatbot so that it knows what to say. So there's a couple of things here that I'd never done before. The first one is that I had never, outside of the Alexa ecosystem, I had never ever updated a Lambda from the CLI. What I generally do with a Lambda function when I'm working with them is that I'll have written some code locally and then I'll just upload a zip file. But I don't want to do that. I want to be able to upload this code, right from the command line as I'm working on it. And so what I want to do is come into here. I have a Star Wars bot. This is the thing that we created on Wednesday. And if I look at the code for this, it's very, very simple. And all it's doing is matching against the slot name and returning a response that contains the name of the table we should be looking in and the name of the value that we should look in that table for. So I'm going to just take this code, and the first thing I want to do is see if I can actually do this. T Benson 80, thank you for the subscription, man. That's awesome. Thank you so much. For those of you that know or don't know, subscribers, they're basically contributing money to the channel. Now, this money doesn't go to me. We actually take any money that's generated by this channel, and I'm donating it quarterly to the STIR Scholarship, which is a scholarship designed to help diversity in IT. And so if women are going into, young women that are in high school are looking into technical majors, the money that you are providing to this channel will be donated directly to that charity to help support women that are looking to go into technical fields, to help kind of broaden the diversity in this industry, because it's something that has bothered me for a long time, and especially as the the father of a 16-year-old girl that really likes computer science and technology, and probably will head into that in college. I want to know. I want to make sure that I'm creating opportunities for her, and women like her, because it's, as you look around this industry, as you look in this chat room, it's all a bunch of guys, and there's nothing wrong with guys, but there's always something better about having diverse perspectives on just about everything. There's a funny story I've always heard about how there was a piece of software that was written for like a bathroom scale, right? It was an internet connected scale, and you could step on it, and it would give you reports and tell you about your data and whatever. And it hadn't somehow considered that women might get pregnant. And when women get pregnant, they put on weight of varying amounts, right? You're carrying a baby inside of you. And so all of a sudden, all these women that were using this scale were receiving emails saying things like, you should really consider this exercise routine or this or that. It seems like you're putting some weight on, which is incredibly insensitive to somebody that's carrying a baby. So that kind of stuff would have easily been thought of or fixed if there was more diversity on their team. And it's just a lack of perspective sometimes that can make things a whole lot better for everybody in software. So that's why I'm supporting it. That's why I think it's important. And I hope that you guys will help me support them that way. So that was a long way of saying thank you, tbenson80, for your subscription. I really appreciate it. Okay, so this is the Lambda code that we wrote last time. And all we're doing is grabbing the name of the slot here, and then grabbing the value that we matched in our entity resolution, and then sending that back. So I'm going to copy this, and the thing that I really want to figure out is how do I update this automatically? So this is like the generic JSON that you get at the beginning, but this is the JavaScript that we just wrote or copied, I guess. And what I want to do is update the code that's on Lambda, which is here. I want to update this. So I'm going to leave it on. I'll be on Star Wars Bot, and then we'll go check and see if we actually updated it. So I was digging in, and it looks like I have all the commands here. This is the Amazon Web Services Lambda CLI description. Now, Gold Zulu, remember, it's not a git push, because I'm actually trying to push this to Lambda. I'm actively just trying to update a Lambda function on AWS. This is not an Alexa Lambda. I'm not actually building anything for Alexa right now. What I'm building is just a standalone chatbot. So you're not going to see me building Alexa stuff. But I agree with you. In normal cases, yes, git push would be perfect in CLI 2. And T. Benson, that sounds awesome. You have 2 young daughters yourself that you're trying to guide this way. And how to promote diversity in engineering. That's super awesome. So if you guys are interested, especially if you want to just make a direct donation, Stir Scholarship. Do I have that website? Why don't I ever have that here? I think it's just stirscholarship.org. This is our charity that we created. And there's a donate button right here at the top, but I'll drop this in the chat so that if you want to make a donation or you want to support our mission, you can. Thank you. Okay, so back to what I'm doing is actually not ASK or anything. This is just a raw Lambda function that has nothing to do with Alexa at all. What we're actually doing today is building a chatbot that runs on Twitch here. But the goal in all of this, if I can draw the big picture, is that we're going to build a chatbot that can run on all of our channels. So like if you've tuned in for Jeff Nunn or Karthik or Yiddish Ninja or any of the other Amazon folks that are here on the channel, we're going to build a chatbot that all of them can have running behind the scenes so that you can ask Alexa questions, you can find out like when other streams are coming up, all sorts of useful information just by using the chat. And then that same data, all of that same information is going to be constructed into an Alexa skill so that if you want to use your voice to ask those same kinds of questions, you can do that. So this is just kind of the ground layer of what we're building. And unfortunately, this piece right here is not necessarily related to Alexa at all. It's very similar because I'm using Lex, I'm using Node, I'm using Airtable for my data, and a Lambda function, but it's actually not, this is not Alexa stuff at all. So like I said, I'm in this Lambda CLI reference, or API reference, and down here they have update function code, and I think this is the thing that I want to use. So I think I can just say AWS Lambda update function code, give it the name, and then give it a zip file. And so the other thing that I don't know is how do I create a zip file from the command line? I'm not an expert command line person. Jeff Nunn is. I've sat and watched him work, and that guy seems to know what he's doing. But I am not. Create individual. Let's do in. Okay, he's making it from the directory. I think that's exactly what I need to do. So we'll take this and let's see if we can do that. I need to do something else too while we're here. Let's get rid of. Yeah, let's just get rid of this one. I don't need that on the screen all the time. So I should be able to come in here, and if I'm in the Lambda directory, which I am not currently, so if we look at here, I have a function, a folder called Lambda. So we can say cd Lambda, and then in here I have my Lambda stuff, right? And I haven't even saved that file, so let's save that file. And then in here I want to say zip, and let's see if I can move this up for you so you can see what I'm doing. And I want to change this to be download.zip, and I just want it to be, maybe I should do this in another directory. Like, what if I just did it like this and I just say Lambda? That's not going to work, but I think that's the thing that I want to do. Yeah, trade last. I'm the same way. I usually would just go into the context menu, but I'm trying to get better by using the command line, and I feel like this is a way to do that. I don't know. So what if I say zip lambda dot zip / lambda? Would that be? I lost my syntax. I need the R. Okay. Zip. Okay. Did I do it? I did it. I did it. We have a Lambda function right there. That's wonderful. So let me clear out that, and then the next thing is, so that was super easy. So I just need to do zip -r, the name of the file, and then where I want it to go. And we should let's go confirm that we did that right, that we did that properly. Let's get all this stuff off the screen. I don't really need any of this right now. What I want is a directory. If we come here, I want to open up that zip file and make sure that it has the contents that I really want, and that it's not everything else. Yeah, and it's just the stuff that I wanted, so that's wonderful. So let's move that to trash. I don't need that directory. And let's get back to my command line. So, all right, cool. So I learned how to create a zip file today. That's great. Now the next thing that I need to do is figure out how to upload this thing. Yeah, I just checked the directory of the Lambda function and it looks good. So now I need to update the function code, and I think I can do that this way. So they don't give me a good. sample of that, but I think I just need these 3 things. I don't think I need anything else. So let's go take a look at what that might look like. So I'm just going to drop these here in comment. And so we're going to say AWS Lambda update function code function name this will be Alexa chatbot Lambda. I think that's what I called it. Alexa chatbot Lambda. Cool. W. Giorgio already has 5,000 more points. That's awesome. I'm going to have to find other ways for you guys to cash those in. And then I need -- zip file. And this will be now Gold Zulu, you have file b://lambda. I don't know that I can do that. Can't I just say lambda.zip? Oh, you just crushed it. So file b like so. Come on, is that gonna work? I didn't get like a confirmed. Let's go look. Did it update the code? Alexa chatbot Lambda. All the stuff's there. The node modules are there. All that stuff is there now. We're waiting for the index.js file to load. Holy cow. I think this worked. I think we may just be in the process of waiting for it to all load up. But the files are there. That's so cool. All right, so that we seem to be well on our way. You know what? There was something else I wanted to do. If we talk about this image that we keep working on, come on. There's I have folks like Trey Last and Kevin Evans and stuff. One of the things that I wanted to be able to do is assign some roles to all y'all. So like if I go to W. Giorgio, no, it's not going to let me do it there. I was hoping that I could. All right, so I'm going to come in here. We're going to go to Community. We're going to go to Roles Manager. I made Ice Cream. I don't know if Ice Cream's here today, but I made him a VIP, and I feel like if you guys are on the wall, that we should assign some VIP status. You guys get a nice little thing next to you. W. Giorgio. We'll make you a VIP. We only get 40 of those, so I'm not sure what to do once we get over 40, but we'll figure that out. So that has been added. Let's add another one, which would be Gold Zulu. VIP, save. Trade last. This gives you a nice little icon next to your name. WK Wyatt, you're on the image, right? Are you not on there? Oh, I thought you were. Well, we'll have to get you on there at some point. So Gold Zulu got a diamond. W. Giorgio's got a diamond now. W. Giorgio, you're already on there though, right? You just cashing in some points? Or were you hoping to get on there twice? I don't know if I want to do twice, But I want to make sure that I get other people that are here. Kevin Evans. Let's do... VIP, save. Trade last, I see Bling. Nice work. So thank you guys all for continuing to tune in. And now you've got a little bling to go next to your name. If there's somebody I'm missing too, let me know. I want to do it while they're on air, so if I don't see you, then that's why I haven't done it. It's not that I'm forgetting you, but I want to do it while you're actually here. All right, so we've uploaded our. Let's go check and make sure that actually finished. Well, I don't understand why the code isn't working, but there's my package JSON. That looks good. That's the file that I uploaded. There's our code. That's so cool. All right, so the other thing that I should really do is save these commands, because there's no way I'm going to remember all this stuff every time. Jeff Nunn, we'll have to get you up to 4,000. Same with you, WK Wyatt. Once you get to 4,000, let me know and pull the trigger and we'll get you up there. So TradeLast says, do I need to set a trigger like you do if it's an ASK Lambda? I don't need to set a trigger. I think that the Lex bot, I think it does it automatically for me. So we're going to do that next and we'll see exactly what you're asking about. But so I want to make sure that I get these commands saved. So we're gonna create a new file in the main directory called commands.txt, and in here we're gonna say this was the update Lambda function code, and then we're gonna have, well, probably before that we should have create the zip file. And that was command slightly earlier. Zipped up a lot of files very quickly. That went right by as we did it. Oh, did I lose it? Okay, we can do it the other way, which is this. So we'll copy this one out too, just so I have it. And then in a perfect world, I could just chain these all together. Gold Zulu, I agree with you. I'm not creating the. Oh, you mean here? Yeah, we'll have to figure out where Jeff Nunn wants to go. I'm not sure what he would pick. You know what? You're right. You're right. So, yeah, I gotta get rid of that. So let's try that again. So what if I do this? Yeah, that still does the Lambda like that. So I'm going to have to go into the root to do that, which I didn't really want to do. And then how do I refer to all the files? Oh, that just, so I can just leave that off and it'll just automatically? What am I missing? I'm forgetting the zip.r.lambda.zip. I also feel like I would like it to... Is that just a period, like a space like that? Didn't seem to like that one either. This seems like it should be pretty easy, though. And what I would like to do is this. I want to move it up a directory. Can I do that? I think that just did what I wanted. That did that. That did it in the directory. I would really like it to be up a directory. I'd love to drop it here, but that's okay. We can do that. Because I think then I can just do this. So let's take that command we just used. Which looks like so. Jeff Nunn, do you approve of this? Is this Jeff Nunn approved context, syntax? Let's try that without the slashes just to make sure. Yeah, that works. Okay, so we can leave that off. This is the syntax that I want to use for that. And then this here should be, I can get rid of this actually, because what I want to do is copy this and just from here say this. And my thought is that now if we come look at our Lambda function and refresh it, we should see a completely new directory structure without that Lambda folder in there. And we do. You guys are incredibly helpful. This was super awesome to have you guys helping me here without having to Google it all. But so now we have our zip file, and now we have the we have an easy way to update that Lambda function when we make changes to it. Hopefully, we won't have to make a lot of changes to it because all it's doing is all we need it to do is go out and grab the things that resolve out of our Lex chatbot. And so I think that's the next step that we really need to take on, is creating a new chatbot. So I'm going to call this custom bot. We're going to call it Alexa chatbot. And my output voice doesn't matter. This will just be text-based for what we're doing. Session timeout, this can be like 5 minutes. I don't think it really matters. We'll do sentiment analysis just because it's cool. I am role's great. I'm not doing anything with children, so that's okay. So that is all good. I'm going to hit create. And now we're starting to build our intents. So one of the challenges that I've run into with using these different with using Lex versus Alexa is I think I can just say the answer intent here and use it across multiple things. And so this answer intent now, I'm going to point this at my Alexa chatbot Lambda. And this is the thing that I think someone was asking earlier about, do I need a trigger? This is giving permission for Lex to invoke my Lambda function. Now, if I hit OK on this, I'm going to assume that this is just going to work. We'll give this a try. Let me build it, and test it out. And once it's built, we could say, tell me about Karthik. Received error response from Lambda unhandled. I'm not too worried about that yet. My guess is that if I look at my slot value, I don't have Karthik in there. I thought I did. So let's try a Kirsch and just see if it works. Tell me about a Kirsch. Okay, and so my Lambda function's working. What I'm not getting is handling situations that are broken, where someone says something that I just wasn't expecting at all, and we'll fix that. We'll be able to do that with a few things, but I have the basic stuff. If I search existing intents, they also have a fallback intent that I can use here. This is the same one that we would have otherwise, and so I will probably need to incorporate a fallback intent. Let's do that. Give a new name for the built-in intent. We'll call it fallback intent. Actually, let's give it the whole name. Amazon dot. Okay, can't do that. So we'll just call it fallback. I'm sorry, what? I want to create this one. Cancel. I want to create a new intent from existing intents, and I want to choose the fallback intent. And I have to give it a name. Okay. So the question was, what's in error handling? If you're currently using error handling, these are clarification prompts that come back like, sorry, can you please repeat that? And what they're saying is if I'm using the fallback intent, they don't recommend using this, which is fine. I was going to turn this off anyway. So hang-up phrases will not be used because I'm using the fallback intent. So what I'm going to do, I guess I was already building. What I'm going to do is use the fallback intent as a way to say, like, dude, I don't know what you're asking me for. I don't know anything about that. That's going to be the process for using that. So I have this answer intent, and one of the things that I really want to do is update not only my utterances, but update my slot value in a more efficient way. Because it seems like I can only just type each of these individual values in, and I don't really know how to do that. Maybe if I go out to slot types, answer, import. Yeah, this is the thing that I want. And this is another one of those, are you kidding me? Like, why isn't there a link right here that tells me what this file should look like? Does anyone know what this file should look like? I know we're gonna Google it here in a second, so you don't need to Google it. But does anyone off the top of their head happen to know what the slot type import file type looks like? I don't. So we're gonna have to go look that up. So if we do lex import slot type, let's look at how this is actually done. No, this is not what I want. Importing and exporting. I'm an importer-exporter. Anybody get that reference? This isn't really what I want. This is for the whole bot, which is great. You can export bots, intents, and slot types to Amazon Lex. Maybe I should just try exporting what I have. Maybe that will show me what I'm supposed to have. So if I choose export, slot type version to platform, we'll export that. That should probably download a file for me, right? Somewhere. Okay, it's a zip file. That's weird. Why wouldn't it just be a JSON file? All right, let's see what's inside there. So I open the zip file, and now I just have a JSON file. It's weird that I... Okay. So let's open that and see what it is. So this is my slot with my synonyms. That's cool. Okay. So I guess I just need to create a file that looks like this and then upload it, but I need to make a file that looks like this based on the entire database that I have. So let's look at that. So I have my data somewhere here, and if we come into dev tips, I have this table called answer, and I have all of these values, right? All of these values with potentially all of the synonyms. I'm going to have many more than this, but this is where I'm starting from. So I have synonyms, I have the names, and then out here I did create a field called slot values, and what this was meant to do was create the JSON that I would need to pull into an Alexa-based format, but it looks like the JSON format is different. So what I really need it to look like is an open bracket, value, and synonyms, and that's it. So let's duplicate this column. We'll call this Lex slot values. And then the stuff that we don't need, we'll just get rid of. So I don't need the ID. Where I start is value. So value is going to be my name column. And I think I just get rid of, maybe that, is that enough? Did I just do it? So now I have this JSON, which that looks pretty clean. Sorry, I'm ducking off the camera here, but that looks really clean. Value, agencies and tools, synonyms, none. Value, Akirsh Shrivastava, synonyms, Akirsh and Shrivastava. That looks really good. Okay, so the reason that I do this kind of stuff in Airtable, aside from it being like my actual data source, is that I can take this column now, copy it, come over to my editor. Cheers just get your attention. You can buy things with those bits as well, but cheers are money, and so they're actually, that 100 bits is what T. Benson just gave us. That's the equivalent of $1 US. So that is what T. Benson just did, and it's greatly appreciated. And so I'm going to take this trailing comma off, and now we have all of these values here inside of my chatbot file. And I'm going to take all of those. I agree, Karthik, that's awesome. Okay, so now we have our answer export JSON file. But again, when I come back here to the Lex thing, and I want to say import, it says upload a zip file. What if I just give them a JSON file anyway? Why can't I? Oh, because it only wants me to give it a zip file. Well, that's pretty annoying. Okay, I guess I can do that. So in here, I'll just take this answer export and I will compress. And then we'll come back here and we'll choose that zip file. And we'll see if we get all of our stuff imported. That would be super awesome. So we are in the process of importing. Choosing overwrite and continue will update to the latest version of these resources, and current data will be lost. That's fine. I agree with you, Karthik. Now, they're probably, I mean, I think everything on AWS is part of the AWS CLI, so maybe there's an easier way to do this. I just don't know what it is yet. But so now if we go back to my bot, and we look at Alexa chatbot, and we look at the properties of this, if I come to my answer slot, now we have, no, we don't have all my, where are all my values? If I go back here and I look at the slot type and I look at this, I can't view that. Okay, what would you like me to do here? Want latest? This is the thing that I missed on Wednesday, by the way. Is that I just need to choose latest sometimes on my slots, but this doesn't seem to have been updated. So what did I do? I mean, if I was importing that file, what is it that I got or did or... No, I don't want any of that. What if I get rid of the slot? Can I get rid of it here? If I choose this, I can't get rid of it. I wish I knew what I was doing. So I want this to be called answer, and I want the slot type to be answer. What have I done? This is bad. I just don't know what I'm expected to do here. What? Now we're here, and I have a... Let's import my file that I just created. Now if I look at my answer slot type, I have all the values. But I need to know that I can upload this. Like, I'm not done. Who sits down and builds something the first time and they're done? I want to get this up and working and make sure that the 10 values that I'm testing work, and then I'll bring in the final data every week or something like that. So now if I say Karthik, intent fallback is ready for fulfillment. Tell me about Karthik. Okay, so that works. Good. So we have we have our chatbot built, I guess. I don't really know what I did there. I blew the slot away and brought it back in. But you see this version here. This is what got me on Wednesday when I was trying to add BB-8. It creates these versions and it holds on to them. So like this number won't update unless I choose latest every time. Just lots to learn here. But so let's find another obscure thing that I haven't really thought about, like what's a good? I'll type in multimodal. Let's see what we get with that. Also, do these have synonyms? They do. The ones that I have synonyms for. Kevin, I'm with you, man. And it sounds like you're relatively new to a lot of this stuff. I know I've said that to you before, but don't be discouraged, man. Like, you're not alone in not knowing how to do something. It's really common. So if I say, tell me about multimodal. Cool. That works really well. I also don't love that the chatbot is limited by the ability to send back just text. I wonder if I could put a... Is there an opposite function to, like I have, what is the opposite function to json.stringify? json.parse. Well, that's interesting. So this is something that we built on Wednesday, but I'm going to go back and revisit it right now just so that we can do this properly. Because if I can do that, we might be in a good position to pass a bunch of data through. So I have my index file, and what we're doing right now is we're creating this content that is not only the slot name but also the value that I retrieved. So let's go look at the value that I actually got from my logs from just doing that. Alexa dev tips bot, and that was at 9:48, which is hopefully not an hour ago. And so is there something that I could get multiple hits on? I think that's the thing that I was trying to figure out is if I look at my slot value, let's go to my data actually. It's an easier place to see this. Is there something where, oh, there's two Jeffs. Let's look at, because there's Jeff Nunn and Jeff Blankenburg. So those should both hit. Jeff Nunn, Jeff Blankenburg. And we both have Jeff as a synonym. So when I do this, and I say, tell me about Jeff, well, it came back with Jeff Blankenburg. Now the reason it did that is because I'm building this and I feel like I should outrank Jeff Nunn slightly in my own code, but maybe I'm wrong because he seems to know the right way to do a lot of this stuff. So maybe I should prioritize him. But if we come back in here, Sohan, man, good to see you. Welcome to the show. Will I get another? Thank you. It's really coming in quite nicely. Everyone in my household hates it, but it's come in quite a bit. So for those of you that don't know, Sohan Maheshwar was on our team. He has moved to AWS and also to the Netherlands. I think that's right. And so it's good to see you, man. I haven't seen you in a little while. They are wrong. I think the beard looks fantastic. So I'm not getting my logs here. Let's look at, why wouldn't I be getting any logs? Incoming event, all that stuff should be happening. It seems like it should work. If I go to CloudWatch for this, I'm not even getting the log. I wonder why that is. Because we're definitely hitting my Lambda function. We're getting the right response here. I wanted to see, can I see the detail here? Oh yeah, okay. Why did it only come back with one value? Certainly, are they both in here? Adev says he's only known the beard, and so it would be weird for it to be gone. I'm not a beard wearer. This is only the last 6 weeks or so. And it will be going away. It's getting very annoying. And once the weather gets warm outside, I'm going to want to get rid of it. So be prepared. There's going to be a day where I just show up with no facial hair. T. Benson 80 says, what are some good resources to learn about the AWS platform? I've jumped back into coding after you had a background in computer engineering. Got it. I've been playing around and watching videos on Python and general NLP type stuff for the last few months. However, I really want to dig down into the nuts and bolts. But there's a lot of stuff out there. Based on earlier suggestion, I'm following Jeff Nunn. Yeah, I would definitely recommend following Jeff Nunn. But we are actually on the Amazon Alexa team. We actually work on the Amazon side of this big company. But there is, and this is probably the place I would have you start first, there is a Twitch channel specifically for AWS. And so if I come here and I say twitch.tv/AWS, they have their own channel that you can tune into, and they have all sorts of interesting shows and stuff happening. I think they have a link to their schedule someplace, but they have 30 people like me and Jeff Nunn and Karthik and the number of the other folks on my team, and they have a lot of people doing this thing. There's a lot of content here. They do a lot of live events. So if you're really looking at AWS, I would look at this. They also have old archives of all this stuff. So you can go dig through and find any of the, like they've got 654 videos uploaded on here. So lots and lots of things that you can go check out. But in addition to that, the Alexa developer blog is also fantastic. They usually only have a couple of posts a day, but they're high value kinds of things. I thought they had a schedule on here. I think it's this. No, this is like old archive pages too. I thought they had their schedule on here. Well, I don't know where their schedule is then. But I would definitely recommend checking that out. If Sohan says there's a virtual AWS summit coming up with tons of talks at all levels, so that would be a cool thing to come out to check out too, T. Benson. So that would be a good place to look. But there's tons of resources out there, and honestly, their docs are pretty fantastic. So if you're looking to just learn about how to do something, that's generally what I recommend. Okay, what was I doing? I was trying to figure out how I differentiate between two values and how do I pass those back as part of my Lambda function. So my Lambda is running here. I have this incoming event call. I mean, even if I test this, and I say test, create, and then I run my test. That's fine, but I should still get a log that happened. Why am I not getting logs? I don't understand. Am I looking in the wrong log group? Alexa Dev Tips Bot. Nope. Alexa Chatbot Lambda. I'm looking in the wrong place. Goodness, Jeff. Okay. So this is the thing that I was worried about, is that I have resolutions here, and there might be more than one, and I don't know. I want to clarify with my user, like, which one did you mean? But I can't do that because I don't get that back from my chatbot right now, because all I'm doing is picking the first one. And that's where, if we look at my actual Lambda code, I'm taking the first resolution, resolution 0. So, yeah, so this seems like this is going to need to change. And I think what I can do instead, is there other data in there that I would actually want, or can I just summarize the... could I just summarize the resolutions? It might be interesting to just pass this whole thing out. And then I can dig through it on the other side. Let's do that. So I'm going to do a... because this makes my Lambda function really simple too. So this, instead of this, I'll copy that because I'll need it, is going to be json.stringify event. And so now I'm passing the entire event, the whole thing out, directly from my Lambda function. It will. Yeah, you get the full transcript, so I can take all of that information and data and do some good things with it. But so what I'm doing right now is I'm just taking this entire object. So if you look at this whole chunk, everything that you're seeing here, all of this JSON is being turned into a string that I'm passing through from Lex. So I get this entire chunk of data. But the thing that I was upset about on Wednesday was that I didn't have an easy way to grab that. And so what I'm doing with my chatbot, if we come back to my actual code, which we haven't looked at in a little while, is I have a file called bot.js, and I haven't put anything in here yet, but my old one looked like this. And what I was doing was calling out to Lex here somewhere. It's this chunk here. And so I was saying, I want to post what the user posts in the chat. So the chat boxes that you guys are typing into right now. I want to grab that text, I want to pass it to the chatbot, and then I want to get the response back and do something interesting with that. So the posting still all makes sense. It's the retrieving, which is this data that I receive here. This is the string. So because of that, I need to get this new chatbot up and running. And there's a few pieces that I'm going to need to do that. Gold Zulu, I love that. We got to send half a Bitcoin. Yeah, we'll just do that. Traylash, you get the full deal. So if we go back and look at that log, which is here, you can see that I get tell him about Jeff. I actually mistyped this. So it's tell me about Jeff. This is the transcript. So you actually get the full speech about what the user said. But I also get the resolutions. I also get the response that's coming back. I get the intent. I get all the pieces that we get with Alexa, but I also get the transcript. So that's pretty handy. I also get this sentiment response, which allows me to see if I feel like they're positive or negative, or if they're using language that suggests they're angry. These are all things that we could use to respond in a calmer way, or a more animated way, depending on what their response was like. So I'm passing that through, but I haven't actually built the chatbot, because all I have right now is this empty bot.js file. So I'm going to take this and this was just something that I was holding on to. So let me take, I don't think it's snowing here yet. It's not snowing here yet, T. Benson. That's good to know. Sorry that you are in the snow. I'm going to copy this whole bot and bring it over here to bot.js. We're going to chop out all the stuff that we don't need. So I don't need the lamp stuff. Trade last, that is true, yes. But the idea is that Lex is meant to be something that we build to chunk, like it's one of the components that makes up Alexa. And so when we offered Lex and we offered Poly, what we were trying to do is offer the individual components that make up Alexa as individual services. And so because you could build your own chatbot any way that you want and put it anywhere that you'd like, there aren't nearly the restrictions that we have with Alexa, which is a very controlled, consumer-focused experience. And we have to be very, very careful with our customers, which is who you're building for. So that's why there's a difference in kind of security concerns between those two. So I want to remove the white space, that's fine, but then I don't care about the lamp stuff for this chatbot. So we can do all of this, including this else. And now I can say if command name starts with Alexa, comma, then I want to talk to Alexa chatbot like that. And then this whole part isn't going to work because of what I'm doing. So what I need to do is say var data. No. I could say var response equals data, no, json.parse data. And what I'm doing here with the console log is saying I want to see that object come through and get rehydrated. So here we'll just say response. And then none of this is really going to be important for now. And that's if, so if there was an error, why do I have two else state? Oh, because this is the else for this if. So this needs to come down further. So if there's no error, all we're going to do is log it. And then I can leave the dice and the other stuff in here. That's fine. So we have built our bot. So now I should be able to say in the right directory, node bot.js. We have an error. What is the error? Okay. npm install tmi.js. I haven't probably installed a lot of these libraries either, so let's try that again. Node bot.js. Strava v3, that's fine. I just tried to delete that but didn't save the file. Let's try it again. Could not find keys.js. Okay, that's also fine. These are files that I need to make copies of. So if we go to my GitHub and we look at the thing that I built, you guys are hilarious. I love the social hacking you guys are doing here. I have a file called keys and a file called identity, and I need both of those to come over to my new directory, which is this. Okay, and then let's try one more time. Trade last tried hitting it with a lamp immediately after I saved that. So that message came in, but the other bot should still have worked, right? Like if I come and try a bot message right now, what do I get? If I say lamp red, it's still working. So that's good news, because that's not happening in my new bot. That's happening in the old bot. That's happening in the one that's still running over here. So that is still doing everything that it's supposed to, but now I have a second bot running on the same channel that is this one. And so my guess is, because I'm logging everything to a database, if we look at my database, those last couple of messages should be duplicated because I have two bots saving them basically. Pink work, W. Giorgio, nice work. If I go to this chat, I should see duplication because I'm entering them twice. And we are getting duplication. So you can see when the new bot came online, now it's being recorded in both of them. Now, obviously, once I get this new one built, I'll shut down the old one. But this is getting duplicated right now, so it means they're both working. That's great. Okay, so the thing that I wanted to do, though, is be able to actually do the response. And so that's this piece here, and we wanted to look at the logs for that. So if we come in here and we look at log groups, I have Alexa, chatbot, Lambda. This is the thing that's getting those messages. But I haven't hit that yet. And then for my function here, which is Alexa, chatbot, Lambda, that's the one that I want. And then I have Lex. Oh, I just realized that the logging is actually going to happen here. I don't know what I was thinking. So I gotta do something in my chatbot that's like, Alexa, tell me about Karthik. Now it didn't respond because I didn't ask it to, but in here, oh, there's no, okay, I'm trying to hit the chatbot and it's not working. And that makes sense because I haven't published it. So when I publish this, I have to give it an alias. We'll call it beta for now, publish. And publishing this will allow that to actually be called. I hadn't actually published the bot before. All right. Come on. This is the first time. I think it takes a little longer the first time you do it, and it just makes incremental updates. Okay. Close. Let's try that again. So if I say, Alexa, tell me about Jeff, what do I get in my logs? Alexa, tell me about Jeff. Unexpected token O in JSON. On line 63. Okay, well, let's look at our logs then and see. There's a new log because I hit it. The outbound response. I mean, it looks clean, right? Like, that doesn't look like I've messed anything up. This is the response that I'm sending back to my code. So if I come in here and I do a new file, we just drop this. Let's save it as a JSON file, just see if there's any syntax errors. No syntax errors. Everything looks clean and nice. Kevin, I don't actually know what the alias is for. I just know that it asks me to give it an alias. That's a really good question to ask. I just kind of skip over it and say, oh, okay. But every time I hit publish, it says choose an alias to point to this version. So my guess is if I set something up and I'm calling a chatbot from some code and I say use the beta alias, it's going to continue to hit the beta alias for whatever I've most recently published on that alias. I think this is like a versioning. And so eventually, once I go to production, I'll probably create a new alias called prod so that I'm only calling production or something like that from the production locations, but I can still have other code hitting my beta version or whatever. But Sohan nailed it. It's just different versions like dev or prod. And you can make up the name whatever you want. I just chose beta because that's when I saw an example of building one of these, that's what I saw created. So that's what that is. But no, Kevin, please ask questions like that if there's ever a time. For all of you, I don't know all the answers, but if the question doesn't get asked, it can't get answered. So we've got an awesome community of people here talking and sharing and engaging. So if you have questions like that, please ask them. I think that's super valuable because it made me take a moment and think about why am I even doing that? Wonderful, thank you. Okay. So the thing that we're running into, if I come back here, is if I look at my bot. I don't know what the issue is. We're running into an issue on line 63. I guess the first thing that I should do is write out the data. Maybe I'm doing something wrong there. So let's do console log data just to see what we're getting. So before we try to parse it, maybe they're adding extra stuff on here or whatever. So let's try another message. Alexa, tell me about Jeff. And so we go to the very bottom here. Why didn't I didn't even hit that line? I don't think you should need to do that because this is being passed. No, I don't think I should have to await anything. Oh, you know what? I didn't start and stop the bot. That's what the issue is. If I want the new code to take effect, I have to start and stop. Alexa, tell me about Jeff. Okay. So data looks exactly like what I would expect it to look like. Unexpected token 0, token O, in JSON at position 1. I don't know what that means. Yeah, we're gonna look at that next. So I had my delete.json, so we'll just take this. I mean, it looks pretty good to me, but let me get that character. Token 0. Can I even search this file for that? I mean, there are 49 O's, but I don't know why the O's would be an issue. This looks like really clean JSON to me. I don't know what the problem could be, but here's what I'm trying to do. This is the clean JSON that I'm getting, but what I'm not looking at is what this is. Like this whole long thing. When parse tries to go through this, it doesn't seem to like something. Let's just take this and do a little web searching. All right, so if I say, oh, look at that. Oh, interesting. It seems like JavaScript might be trying to be too smart for me. That seems like what's happening here. So what if I do this? If I stringify it again, and then parse the stringify, I wonder if that's actually where we're at. So let's stop it and start it. I think I still need to parse because it's put all those strings together, but I think Alexa, tell me about Jeff. Now my response is object, which now if I take this and actually put that around response like I should have in the first place, now I think we're cooking with gas. It was JavaScript trying to be too smart. So services started. Alexa, tell me about Jeff. In here I get my response with all the JSON. That is glorious. Remember I stole this chunk of code from earlier. We're going to bring this down. And now we can do all of our work here instead of having to do some of it in the chatbot. So what I want to do is say, how do I want to look at those resolutions? Because I have, we should probably have something like var get resolved values. I should do this the safe way. No. Var resolved values equals get resolved values, and I'm going to pass in the whole thing. Karthik, you taking off, man? Take care. Have a good stream. We may send some people over your way in just a little bit. So I'm going to create a function called getResolveValues, which we've done before. And before I do that, I want to grab this chunk because this is what tells us where these are. Come down to the bottom, and we'll. Wait, can I do that? Yeah, I can do that. Okay. So down here at the very bottom, I'm just going to have a function getResolvedValues event. And in here, we're going to do an if on each one of these steps. So event, if it exists, and event.currentIntent, and event.currentIntent.slotDetails, and event.currentIntent. I don't know what the slot name is. slot dot resolutions and resolutions is all. So if there are resolutions, that's really what I care about right now. So we can say if all of that exists, then return this. And then we'll do else return undefined. And this tells me whether or not... Sohan, thanks for being here, man. No, live coding is the best. I only write code in public now. And for those of you that have been here a little while, I'll freely admit, like, I make mistakes. We figure things out. We Google search. We do what we need to do, just like we would writing any software. But I feel like if I'm going to sit down and write code, why not write it in public, right, Sohan? That's been my motivating factor behind all of this. Is I was going to write this anyway, so let's just do it with the crowd. Let's get people talking and asking questions. It makes me understand it better. I have the philosophy that to know something, you have to be able to teach it, and if I can't teach it, then I don't know it. So that's kind of how I live here. Okay, so get resolve values is going to return to me the resolve values that I got. And so in here, wherever that went, that gets me resolve values. So now I can say if resolved values doesn't equal undefined, then we're going to do some interesting stuff with it. We can say if resolved values dot count dot length equals 1. This is, we got one thing, we're going to respond with one thing. I keep doing the wrong brackets. I don't know why I'm making that typo consistently, but I'm doing that a lot lately. And so this is if I have something. So then I can say in here else, this is I need, see, I did it again. Not getting to the shift key fast enough, I guess. So if they only came back with one resolve value, then we're going to respond with that one value. And if they had more than one value, then I'm going to clarify, like, oh, which one did you mean? And when they do the clarification, I will be able to, like, I'll say, oh, did you mean Jeff Blankenburg or Jeff Nunn? They will say Jeff Nunn, or maybe they'll just say none. And in either case, then it will resolve to the right value, and then we can get them the answer that they're looking for. So in this case, I wanted to do something like this. This client.say oh, Memo Doring lurking in the background. My goodness. It's so good to see your snarky voice in the chat. Thank you for being here, Memo. So we're doing a context.username. All of that is good. And item.fields.card description. Did I make a call to a database in here that I missed? I did. So this is where I'm actually calling out and getting my real data. So the only time I need to call and get my specific data is when I actually know what their data is. And so this is going to be data 0 was the table name. So we need to figure out how to get that out of our new object. And so we can come into, man, Memo, I miss you. It's good to see you, man. I need to look at my object and say, how do I get the name of the table? That's the slot name. How were we doing that a second ago? We need get resolved values. We need event and the name of the table. Kiran Nayanpati, how am I saying that? Nayapati? Nayapati. Thank you for the follow, man. Appreciate it. We're trying to get our way to 500 followers, at which point I've made a promise to be able to dress up completely as a X-wing pilot. We'll be doing that when we get to 500 followers for an entire episode. Yeah, that's. I have actually published a book, not anything that would be a New York Times bestseller, but I used to be heavily involved in Windows Phone when that was a thing, and I did write a book on developing apps for Windows Phone. I think you can still find that on Amazon, but I'm way beyond getting any royalties for it anymore. So buy it or don't, but I don't recommend it unless you really, really want to learn about Windows Phone that doesn't exist anymore. Okay, I need to be able to get the intent name. That's the thing that I keep getting distracted by. I need to get the intent name, and that is in here. Current intent.name is the thing that I want. So we're going to get a new variable here, var intent name equals event.currentIntent.name. And then we're going to do a .replace on that. And we're going to take off the word intent. Because I just want the name of the table, which I'm going to try and be consistent with. So I have intent name. This is the name of my intent now, which in this case would be answer. And so then here I'm going to say I want, what am I doing with get specific data? What are the two values I want? Table and then the value. Okay, so what we will do is wherever I'm writing code, which looks like it's here, this needs to be event intent name. And then this needs to be, no, I don't want it to be intent name. I want it to be table name. Let's be really clear about the table name because I've removed the intent, so it doesn't make sense to call it intent name. But I know how to get the intent name, which I don't really need anymore. So this is going to be table name, and this is going to be resolved values 0, because I only had one, and we should look at what that structure looks like. Resolve values, I went down to resolutions, right? That's what I did in my code. Got resolutions, yeah. So I have an array that would be this and this. So I just want to say resolution 0 dot value. Okay. So we'll come back up here and we'll say resolve values 0 dot value. And that should be the value that I've received. So that should still work. And then item.fields.card description should still work. So I feel like this will work. What do you guys think? Do you think it'll work? Save some code, cancel some node, run. Let's see what we get if I say, Alexa, tell me about account linking. Well, it didn't work, and so that's the good news. What did we break? Event is not defined because it's not called event, it's called data. I was working in the old model from the Lambda function. This is my node app. So let's go to resolve values. This should be called data. And all of this should be called data. It's good to be consistent. All right, so that's fixed. Code is updated. Whoop. Let's see if we can run that one more time and try another command. Alexa, tell me about, what do I want to call, like, let's say Karthik. I don't know if I have a response for that. Broke it again. What's broken now? Cannot read property name of undefined. Let's get down to where we're actually... On line 67, what? So I have my data, which is here, and I have my response, which is the actual object I'm working in. So response looks like this. Oh, and there's intent name right there. Why don't I just take that? Data dot intent name. Can I just do that instead? Will you let me do that? Shouldn't it have responded? Or did I have multiple values come through? This is really too hard to read. If we come into my delete file and look at this, intent name, slots, attributes, oh, I see. I didn't actually do the parsing that I wanted to do. And that's where all my resolutions are. Okay, we got a little more thinking to do in this code here. So the thing that I was struggling with, I already have JSON. So I don't need to do this necessarily. But what I want to do is say data, what was that called? Data dot, these are all equals, data dot message. Let's see if we can do that. This will be some fancy wizardry if this works. Data dot message equals JSON dot parse data dot message. And then I don't think I need to do any of this. We could just use data. Which it appears I was doing anyway, so why did I have this response object at all? All right, so let's see if that does the magic I want it to do. So now I have my data, but when did I write that? I wrote it before. Dumb. Okay, one more. So what does that message actually look like? not message, it's message.content. Just sloppy. Don't mind me, everybody. This is just me scrambling around trying to figure out what in the world I'm doing wrong. This is probably a simple fix. I just can't figure out how to make sure that message content is parsed and turned back into JSON. And that's the thing that I'm struggling with right now. Thank you. Tell me about graphic. Undefined. Undefined? What do you mean undefined? So, let's look at this. My outbound response looks like this. Is that the thing that I'm receiving? No, the thing that I'm receiving comes from the chatbot, right? Okay, I think we're looking at this improperly, and we need to just be very specific. Console.log data. Okay, so that's the data that's coming into our app. And then I'm trying to get the message content, and I'm guessing that I'm thinking about the structure of this JSON improperly, and that I just need to look at it in the right way. Alexa, tell me about Greg. Okay, so the error we get, Jeff, honestly, I'm not signing off of this stream, just as a warning to all of you. I'm not signing off until I make this work, because this should already be working. So we may get some bonus time today. All right, Alexa, tell me about a Kirsch. Okay, I expect an error, that's fine. But what I want to see is what data looks like. Bring this up so I can get at it easier. Gary the Llama for the follow. Thank you. Welcome to the show. We've got a bunch of people here hanging out with us still. We're wrapping up here. We only have about 10 minutes left. But we've had a lively conversation about building chatbots and Lambda functions and all sorts of other stuff. But right now I'm trying to figure out what in the world I'm doing with this JSON file. So we're going to dig this apart and see what I'm doing wrong. Intent name, slots, these are all equals. Session attributes, message. Baby's first chatbot. Awesome, man. Yeah, we're doing some cool stuff. I actually have a few things that are already built. You can do things like change the color of the lamp behind me. You can see it's pink right now. But if you do exclamation point lamp and then type a color or a hex value, so if I say like blue, like that, the light behind me changes blue. So that's been kind of a fun addition to this channel, but we're also trying to build something that will answer questions about Alexa development, which is a lot of what we cover on this channel. So feel free to change the light if you want, but thank you for joining the show. All right, so back here, it is message. That was something that I was worried about, is that I was somehow getting this wrong. And then I have my sentiment responses. That all looks good. And I have a message format. And I have a dialogue state. All this is great. But the thing that I want is just the message. I wanted to convert that message to actual JSON. This whole chunk. So this should be data.message. Content doesn't exist. And I want to update the message property with a parsed version of that JSON. So let's go back and see if somehow I missed that and we did it wrong. So now if we do Alexa, tell me about Greg. Well, we're not getting an error. I mean, that's something, right? So let's see if this actually updated my... Let's see if my updated data JSON is right. Thanks for coming, WKY. I'll paste. There's my intent name. There's my slots. There's my session attributes. There's my message. And look at that. I have all this beautiful JSON now formatted properly. So we got it right. We now are in a place where we have that, but we're still not responding to the user like we should be. So we need to look at that and see why. Because it should have responded, right? It should have, right here, we didn't get any errors. So if resolve values.length, what were my resolve values? I guess we should look at that. Bot. All that is fine. We have our output dialog mode. Like, this is a whole big object of stuff. No, that's still in here. Current intent, name, slots, answer, slot details, resolutions, hydrate. Urban Blaster says hydrate. I'm on it. So I have all this other stuff. That's great, but the resolutions looks right to me. So I want to make sure that I'm doing message.currentIntent.slotDetails. Yeah, I think there were some bad assumptions built into what I was sending. So I want to do message.currentIntent, and what I'm doing right now is in my getResolveValues function, data.message is missing. We're going to take this .message and drop it into all of them. because what it's basically saying is, hey, you don't have any values. The reason we were failing is because I was looking in the wrong portion of the JSON. But now we should return resolve values that are proper, which should then allow us to get into this node here, which should get my specific data. I think it should work now. I think I'm like 80% confident that this is going to work this time. 80% is good, right? Okay, here we go. Alexa, tell me about Greg. Nice, sweet error. What is the issue though? I made that call out. Greg's in the database, right? I guess that's a good question to ask. Yeah, and I have him in here with synonyms. There was trade last. That's a good question, and I do have that covered. The place that I'm doing that is here. I'm passing in the name of the slot, and so I'm treating it like an array instead of hard coding the values in, because I'm going to use this function for a number of different slots. But yeah, it's slot details dot slot dot answer dot resolutions, and if we look at this, slot details dot answer dot resolution. So I'm just passing in the name of the slot so that I can use it over and over with different slots. But that's, yeah, that syntax is definitely there. So I'm definitely getting the value. And I suppose we could trace that through if we really wanted to, but I feel like I'm getting here because I'm making the call out to the database. So my resolve value, I guess I could check and see what my resolve value was. Let's do this. Console log resolved values. Like so we can at least see what they were. And come back here and say, Alexa, tell me about Greg. It's okay that we get the error. What I want to know is the value I got here is right. So I have resolve values. There's one of them. And I'm doing resolve values 0.value. That should work great. So now I need to look at get specific data by ID, because that seems to be my issue. And now I think that I'm encoding that properly. I'm gonna have to go to the camera view for a second, just so I can go play with some sneaky URLs. Full path. Could not find table answer. That makes sense. Because I'm referring to the wrong table. This is so dumb sometimes how I do this. API.airtable.com. So the problem I had is that when I originally built this chatbot, I was talking to this chat table in my Jeff Blankenburg Alexa skill, or my database. But what I want to be doing is looking at this data database. And if I do a answer table lookup, I want, no, if I do a data table and I look at answer table, and I do retrieval record, and I choose JavaScript, what I need is this. This is the reference to that database. BeginBot, thank you for the raid. I really appreciate it. We are just wrapping up here, but for all of you that are just joining us, we are in the process of building a chatbot, and I think we've gotten to the last step. So I'm going to flip over to this view. You can look at my beautiful face just for a moment, and I'm going to update a file that I don't want you to see because it has secret hidden things in it. But please give me a follow. We talk a lot here about voice and chatbots and Alexa and stuff like that. And we're here 3 days a week at a minimum, so we would love to have you. Thank you for being here. Let me open my file, and I want to change this to be that. Nope. Somehow I didn't even copy it. So we're going to take that and copy it, and then we're going to bring it over. I know you can't see what I'm doing right now, I promise. This should work in just a moment. Let's close these files so I don't accidentally show them on screen. And now we can come back here, and we're going to go to this, and we're going to kill our Node app just for a second. For those that asked about the fashion analyzer, Big Ed, yeah, that is that's the Echo Look, which is one of the devices, but I have all of them. I have pretty much all the devices sitting here behind me. This is my little voice lab. So I've started my thing again. We're going to try, for those of you that want to play too, if you like to interact with my scene, you can type !lamp and then any hex value or color name. So if I say red as an example, you'll see that the light behind me changes to red. So if you want to change the light, feel free. Would love to have that change a few times while we're here. But I'm in the process of finishing up one last thing, and I'm going to do that by going here and typing, there's orange for you, Urban Blaster, nice work. I'm going to say, Alexa, tell me about Greg. Please work. Undefined. That's perfect, because now we can come in here to my data table, and for Greg, and I can say in my card response, we can say Greg Bullmash is known as Yiddish Ninja on most platforms. So we've got Greg. That works really well. I've got my data fixed in there, so now I should be able to say the same thing. Alexa, tell me about Greg. And undefined. Did I choose the wrong value? Am I grabbing the wrong value out of the code? I thought it was card description. It is card description. And here, oh, do I have a card? Oh, it's card response. Okay. Helps if you call the table by the right name. Card response. Save that. We'll stop our bot one more time. Start it again. Artman Dank, there is a portable Alexa in a headset. There's actually a couple. You can get the Echo Buds, which are a Echo. They're like earbuds. Think of like AirPods or something like that. But they're earbuds that fit in your ears, and they have Alexa built into them. I have the Bose Quiet Comfort 35s. Alexa's built right into these. And they also make something which is super cool that's called Echo Frames, and it's a set of glasses frames that look like normal glasses, but they have Alexa built into the arm of the right-hand side. And so you could just be walking around wearing your glasses, and there's little microphones mounted right over your ears, or not microphones, little speakers. And so you can wear a pair of glasses that look like normal glasses, but are an Alexa device right on your head. So that is a Pi Zero would certainly do it, but if you want to find like an official Alexa device, they have those now. Super cool. Okay, I started it one more time. Let's see if it says the thing I want. Alexa, tell me about Greg. Greg Bullmash is known as unit. Perfect. So it's pulling my data right out of the database. We have solved this problem finally, and I'm only 5 minutes over. I normally go until noon, but I told them I wasn't going to finish until I did this. Now, the thing that I'm not doing, the last step that I want to take, is what do we do if they have multiple matches? Like if they say Jeff, we have Jeff Nunn and we have Jeff Blankenburg, which is me. So in that case, I need to just respond to them with like, hey, which one did you mean? So I'm going to take this response here, and we're going to say, nope. What did I just do? Contact username, all that's going to be the same, but this is going to have to be get spoken disambiguation. And what this is going to allow me to do is take the values that I got, these resolve values, and we're going to... what's in my OPSEC? Thank you for the follow. Really appreciate it. I'm going to pass in my resolve values. I'm going to create a sentence that puts those things together. So we have get spoken disambiguation, which is going to get my resolve values and chain them together. And so now I need to create that function really quick. Function get spoken disambiguation. This will be values. And then we're just going to do, we'll have to do a var response equals nothing. And then for var I equals 0, I is less than values dot length I plus plus. And in here we're just going to say response plus equals values I. But I also want to do values I plus like that. And then I want to say if I is equal to values dot length minus 1, which is the last value that I'll get, then I also want to do response plus equals four with spaces all the way around it. Like that. And then we should be able to do what's wrong here? Oh, I keep doing the same thing with the wrong brackets. I'm just not fast enough on the shift key, I guess. I don't know why I keep doing that. That's not a normal thing that I do in code. And then we can just return response. Okay, so we have return response. All of that is good. We're in a good spot for getting our spoken disambiguation. The other thing that I want to add to this is I'm going to say at whoever, did you mean, and then that stuff. Let's see if that works. That'd be amazing if it just happened. And so our example that we're going to use for multiple values is Jeff. So if I say, Alexa, tell me about Jeff. Did you mean object, object, or object, object? Perfect. It's just what I wanted. Down here, this needs to be dot value. T Benson 80. This is a great question. Honestly, I wouldn't introduce them to a language yet. What I would do is go over to code.org, and they have so code.org is a great place to start, and what you're writing is JavaScript, but you don't know it. But you could also look at something like Scratch, which is a service that was created by MIT, I think. Both of them allow them to think about the logic and the flow of like what is an if statement versus what is a something like that, an if statement or a for loop or whatever. And they have tons and tons of good tutorials and examples. So I would start with code.org. I think it's fantastic. And then Scratch is another good backup. But between those two, I think you'll be well served. Okay, so let's try this one more time with the appropriate value being pulled. And now if I say, Alexa, tell me about Jeff. Did you mean Jeff Blankenburg or Jeff Nunn? And then I need to make sure that I don't put that last comma. What I want to do is have a question mark instead. I wonder if I could do this here. If I do this, then I could say, so on the or, I wouldn't want to do it. Else response plus equals the comma. So that inserts my commas, and then at the very end, I'll do that up here, would be to put a question mark on the end. Did you mean get disambiguation plus question mark? We need to make this look really nice because it's chat, right? So that feels good. Save. Kill the bot, start the bot. And one last time, Alexa, tell me about Jeff. Did you mean Jeff Blankenburg or Jeff Nunn? Well, I don't want that other comment in there, so we got one more little thing to fix. And that is, I can't do it when I is 0 either. Else, if I is greater than 0. Will we be good this time, do you think? Alexa, tell me about Jeff. It does make me wonder if I need the comma at all. Because do I really, if I just have the 2, do I really want to put a comma in there at all? I could just say, did you mean Jeff Blankenburg or Jeff Nunn? I don't know that I need the comma, but the comma's okay. Now I need to find a situation in which I have 3 things that match. Alexa, tell me about Alexa. What do I get there? No. If I have more than 2 Jeffs, or like a Justin Jeffress, right, who has the name Jeff in his last name, it's not matching right now, which is good. I wouldn't want it to, but I could see a situation where we'd end up with Jeff Barr and Jeff Bezos, exactly, trade last. Let's just try that. Let's see if we can update our slot really easily here. So I have my slot type. I'm just going to add Jeff Barr, and then Jeff will be one of his synonyms, and Barr will be one. Save slot type. I always need to here then make sure that I have latest, and I need to build and publish this, and I think this will work. This is how it should be when we add new values to a slot. So I'll wait for that build process to finish, and then I will publish it. Yeah, I'm with you, W. Giorgio. I feel like I might have to go back and add some logic for the if there's only 2, but I need to finish. I've got other stuff I've got to get done today, and I need to eat some lunch. I'm starving. So let's publish this. Choose beta still. And once that's published, I'm going to try one more command, and then it's a matter of filling in that database, and we've got our Alexa helper chatbot ready to go. And then we're just missing data. This is kind of exciting. Come on, publish. Okay, done. So if I come back here and I say, Alexa, tell me about Jeff. Why didn't it find the other values? This is one of those things I still need to figure out. Like, what am I doing here? If I say, tell me about Jeff, I'm getting back Jeff Barr here. It's something to do with all of these little hidden latest. Like I have latest there, I have latest here. So it's coming back. What are we getting in our log? I don't really want to spend any more time on this right now, but I am very, very curious. I don't have any new logs. Does this go on forever? Yeah, this goes on to 15, which is like a minute ago. Let's see if bar is even in there, and maybe I'm doing something wrong. I'm not too worried about it for right now. This is not going to keep me from finishing our stream today, but no, it's not. It's not sending that through. So this is one of those weird situations where, like, I just don't fully understand Lex and what's going on. Because I have, oh, maybe I never added the value? It could, no, because I got a response. So I can't search for them. This is really not an awesome interface. There's Jeff Barr. I don't know if I just did it or not. I don't honestly know what all these little latest boxes are for and what I get with that. That's something I can fight with later, like I said, though. I just wanted to see... Tradeless wants me to drink some water. I appreciate that. Yeah, I don't understand. I just want there to be the one version. It feels like every time I change something, there's all these different versions that live in different places. And I don't have an easy way for me to know what I'm doing or what's working or what's not working. But, like, if I say, Alexa, tell me about Jeff. I don't know. I'm going to have to work on that. Still not able to add new values to the slot very easily. But we'll get there. Okay, so with that, I'm going to sign off for today. We'll flip over to this nice view. Thank you guys for sticking with me. I know this was a little more challenging stream than usual. We ran into a bunch of things. We learned a bunch of stuff. We learned how to push Lambda code up via the AWS CLI. Built a chatbot. Used Lex. There was a lot of good stuff in here today, and we learned that we should really take and inspect our JSON before we just start writing against it. So thank you guys all for being here. I will be back again Monday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And can't thank you guys all enough for the participation and the enthusiasm. It really keeps me going. So I'll see you all on Monday.